know the weather outside is frightful, but the hot takes are delightful. Who's on the hot seat this week? Here we go, here we go, here we go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Full Command Show. My name is Grant Mitchell, and if you need any evidence why I never sing in public, feel free to go back and replay that intro as many times as you want to. Guys, I mentioned the weather being a little bit chilly outside because it is a Tuesday morning, which means that there's another edition of the Commanders Hot Takes coming to you live and direct right here on the channel. We got some big name players who are in these hot takes today. I put out a video last night, Monday evening, and it actually kind of mimicked the hot takes style without me really meaning to. I just wanted to touch on some key players that have been in the news recently, the Bobby Wagners, the Marshawn Lattimore's, players like that. And it sparked a lot of great conversations in the comment section. So if you're someone who left your thoughts on that video, then first of all, thank you for being there. And second of all, thank you for being back with us in this video today. Guys, I do have 5 hot takes lined up to share, but before I get to them, make sure you do hit the like button if you guys are enjoying the content and if you just want to support me and you want to support the Commanders. Also, to the new viewers coming out with daily videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you so choose to do. So before we get into these hot takes, a little reminder on how this works. When you see the graphic screen pop up, there will be a thermometer on the left that indicates how hot I think the take actually is. If the take is colder and the thermometer is lower, that means I'm not buying into it as much, I don't believe in it as much, or maybe we're just at the point where it hasn't been proven. When we get to the hot takes, that's something I'm taking my chips and I'm pushing them into the center of the table. Say, yeah, I want to make that my property. I'm buying that stock and I'm riding the dip through it. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, get your comments, get your typing fingers ready. Get ready to go to the comments. Call me an idiot if you want. Call me a genius if you want. I accept both comments in the same way. But without further ado, let's get to the hot takes. Number 1.
The Commanders don't need Terry McLaurin.
Woo! Okay, we're starting off with a doozy here. And I don't know why I'm acting surprised, because I wrote these out myself and because I researched them myself. So I already know what I'm going to say. Now, I'm leaving this as a cold take for now. Let me be very clear here. That is not me castigating or gaslighting or calling out anybody who is in that we should have traded Terry crowd or anybody who's frustrated with Terry McLaurin. Seeing how things have played out, I don't know if frustration is the right word, but there's like a hollow feeling in my stomach. I'm a little regretful at this moment. However, this is why I'm leaving this as a cold take. The NFL season does not end after week 5. We've now got 18 weeks we got to get through. If we're lucky enough, we'll get into the playoffs. That could lead to the championship game like last year. Maybe it ends in the first round. Maybe it ends in the Super Bowl. The season is far from over. So to say we don't need him, I'm not going there. Now, let me give you the counter argument why I totally understand why people are upset with Terry. This was the worst first 3-game stretch of his entire career. Then he gets injured. You want to look at what were his leverage points during contract negotiations this offseason. It was, well, I'm a consistent performer, get 1,000 yards and 75 catches every season, and I'm basically never injured. Well, your 2 main pillars of your argument have already collapsed again through 5 weeks. Could this look different at the end of the season? 100%. What I will say about this is the reason that Terry's absence has not been noticed right now is because the running game has been outstanding. It has been there to buoy the offense. Even in the loss against the Falcons, where you didn't really notice it, the Packers game notwithstanding, and that wasn't even on Terry. That was Jaden's worst game of his career. The offensive line was terrible. The running game was terrible. But the running game has elevated this offense so that when you go on the road against Atlanta, when you play the Raiders, when you play the Chargers, the defenses have so much to worry about on that front that it creates more space for the receivers. And also, Mariota played a great game against the Raiders, was solid against the Falcons, and then Jaden came back and was electric after that first quarter against the Chargers. So all things considered, the team just has not been in the position where it's needed a number 1 receiver to step up. And that is why you haven't really noticed Terry's lack of production or not noticed him when he hasn't been out there on the field. Now, here's what I have to say about this. The team has not been in high leverage games. They have not been and lose and you go home win or die sorts of moments. When you get to those games, and let's just imagine it's week 18, you got to win to get into the playoffs, or maybe you're in the divisional round and you're trying to win to move on to the conference championship game. There's going to be a moment where Jacory Croskey-Merritt is not leading the NFL in yards per carry, 6.6, highest mark in the entire NFL. There's going to be a moment where he's held to 2.4 yards per carry, and the offensive line is getting beat. You're going against Micah Parsons. You're going against, take your pick, from all these great edge rushers. You're going against Brian Flores' defense, which is bringing pressure from everywhere, throwing the kitchen sink at you. There are going to be those moments where you need someone to step up. And look, that player could be Jaden Daniels, because after a shaky start to the season, he looked like the best quarterback in the league for about a half, only one half of football, I get it, but against an elite Chargers defense. So as Jaden continues to grow, can he be that Tom Brady sort of guy where it's like, hey, I literally don't care who I'm throwing the football to. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to ball no matter what I do. Maybe we're at that spot, but I just, knowing how football works, I can't help but think there will be a time where we'll say, wow, we really need a playmaker. We really need a number one receiver to step up and make plays for this offense. And that's what Terry McLaurin has been throughout the course of his career. You can argue about where he ranks in the NFL hierarchy. Is he top 10? Is he top 15? Where you want to put him in that conversation, that's a different point. But he has been that focal point for this offense in the past, and he did make plays last year. Let's not lie about what he did for that team. Okay, we can be on different sides of the fence. Did he deserve to be traded? Should he have stuck around? How much money should he have gotten? All that stuff. But what's clear right now, Terry didn't have a good start to the season. He got injured. I haven't noticed his absence, aside from, as someone in the comments pointed out, maybe the Chris Moore drop touchdown in the back of the end zone against the Chargers. But I also think Deebo makes that catch. I think Luke might make that catch. I think Jalen Lane might make that catch. Didn't have to be Terry, just had to be someone other than Chris Moore. The point being, haven't noticed Terry's absence yet, but I don't think the proper time has arrived for us to evaluate this situation. So this is a burning hot question, but for now it is a cold take.
Deebo Samuel is playing too good.
What does that even mean? He's playing too good? Yeah, he's had a solid season, but too good? Well, why would you care for players playing too good? Okay, so let me explain what I mean by this. I'm worried that Deebo Samuel, who's on a one-year contract, making $17.5 million this year, I believe it's fully guaranteed. They got a void year next year. Some of that's going to be converted to bonuses, I'm sure. I'm worried that he's playing too good and that he's going to get another big contract. Now, why that really troubles me is there's just no way I can sign off on the Commanders paying decent money and good money in Terry's case if he sticks around after the first 2 years of his contract. There's no way I can sign off on paying good money to two 30-plus-year-old receivers. If Terry hasn't turned 30 yet, he's about to this month, and then Deebo turns 30 in January. Now, Deebo's been good this year. He's been a crucial piece of the team identity. He's been really good on special teams. He has 30 receptions. That ranks 9th in the NFL. 300 yards. That's 20th. 3 touchdowns. Tied for 12th. 2.05 yards per route run. That's 15th. He has 6 contested catches. That's tied for 6th. And then he also has 46 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown. For a player who was supposed to be washed and fat, he's played well. He just had, 8 catches for 90-something yards against the Chargers and a touchdown. He's been a really nice addition to this offense, and I love what he's offered. I love the different looks that he's allowed Cliff to give opposing defenses, and I want him to stick around for the long haul, but I'm worried that he's playing too good to the point that he's actually going to earn a big contract, and the Commanders are just in a position right now where I don't think they can afford to do that. Now, I will say, I think Deebo's stock was relatively down league-wide, and I don't know how much that's going to stick as we go through the season. If he continues to perform like this, is his stock going to climb back up? I don't know. There still seems to be a lot of negative stigma around him. He was also called a bad locker room guy, just like Laramie Tunsil was, just like Javon Kinlaw was, but they've all been model citizens. They've all bought right into the culture, been great fits. So I really just don't know where I'm at with Deebo. Obviously, I want him to play good, but I don't want him to play so good that he earns a big deal. But I don't know if the rest of the league would give him a big deal at 30, knowing the physical player is, knowing he's the type of player who invites contact. So I left this as a lukewarm take because I really just think it is one of those interesting philosophical forward-thinking questions that we're probably not going to be able to answer until we get to the table. But yeah, Deebo playing too good for his own good. I guess we'll wait and see.
The defensive line is no longer a concern.
So coming into this season, let's review. You get Terry's contract situation sorted. You have Deebo Samuel. You drafted Jalen Lane. You drafted Luke McCaffrey. You have Noah Brown. Receivers weren't thought of as a big deal. Tight ends, Sinnott is a second round pick. You're hoping he elevates. John Bates is the best blocking tight end in the NFL. Zach Ertz still getting it done. Right about the 10th best tight end in the NFL. You're good there. Offensive line, you upgrade with Connerly and Tunsil. You're good there. Jaden, got nothing to worry about. Croskey-Merritt, we all had high hopes for him. The running backs are good. The corners, Lattimore's a big name. Amos is a second-round pick. Sanderson's a second-round pick. Quan's ready for the Pro Bowl leap. Linebackers, Lulu and Wagner, 2 reigning All-Pros. We had reason to be confident about every unit on the team. This is back during the offseason. We had reason to be confident about every unit except for the defensive line, for the most part. Now, I can't speak for everybody. And I was a little bit higher on the defensive line than some other people, but I will admit, I did not see them playing at this level. I thought they were still going to be the weak point of the defense. They have unquestionably been the best unit of the defense and potentially the best unit of the entire team, depending on how you want to look at it. Just to go into some, Dorrance Armstrong's been a top 10 edge rusher this season. Javon Kinlaw, I think, has been the second best defensive player behind Armstrong. And then Deron Payne, he's either the third or the fourth best player on the defense. Trey Amos has been up there. Bobby Wagner, I get it. He's caused some frustration, but Bobby Wagner's still been up there with how excellent he's been at defending the run and also getting after the quarterback. But three of your top three, 4 guys on the defense have been on that defensive line. Dorrance Armstrong this season, 9th in run stop win rate, 10th in pass rush win rate for all edge players in the entire NFL. Javon Kinlaw, 9th among defensive tackles and run stop win rate. Deron Payne, 14th among defensive tackles and pass rush win rate. Everybody's doing their job in the absence of having a superstar takeover player that so many of us wanted the Commanders to go, hey, go trade for Trey Hendrickson. Hey, go sign Hassan Reddick. Figure it out, bring in that big name. And they said, no, we're going to be strength in numbers. What I'm really interested to see, and I'll admit it is still a concern, I want to know how this unit holds up over the course of the entire season, especially with the piling injuries and knowing the great teams that are coming. You got the Eagles twice in 3 weeks at the end of the season, and then you go straight into the playoffs. You've still got games against the Chiefs. You got games against the Broncos, the Lions. I think the Vikings are on the schedule. Good teams that you're going to face, and they will be tested. Pass rush for me, more of a concern than run stopping. We saw that against the Packers. We saw that against the Falcons. But they deserve nothing short of credit and as much as you can give them for what they've done to start the season, because they have been the best unit in the NFL. So although I'm not convinced they will finish the season as an elite unit, that's what they've been up to this point. And I don't look at them as the weakness. I think the linebackers and the secondary more of a weakness than the D-line. So I'm going to leave this as a pretty warm take.
Chris Paul earned a contract extension.
Can you imagine bringing this up even just a couple of weeks ago? Brandon Coleman, your second-year, third-round draft pick who started the majority of the year at left tackle, was playing the whole year, rotating with Cornelius Lucas. Then you kick him inside the left guard. It looks like a match made in heaven. You partner him up with Laramie Tunsil right next to him. Tyler Biadasz, who's as steady as any center in the league. You reinvest with the selection of Josh Connerly. There's more youth. There's more speed. Coleman's got this enormous size. I remember either J.P. Finley or Brian Mitchell. I don't remember which one, but I remember they did their preseason superlatives. And one of the things they had to pick was the most likely first-time Pro Bowler. And one of them picked Brandon Coleman. And Coleman, watching the preseason, I get it's preseason, but watching the preseason, he was dominant. So it's like, man, he looks like he is poised to have a real takeoff year. All of a sudden, he gets sent to the bench. Not just that, he gets made inactive. And in comes little old Chris Paul, little used figuratively. In comes 6'4", 330-pound Chris Paul, who was a 7th-round pick out of Tulsa in 2022. Never really been the guy on this offensive line, not gotten a bunch of starting opportunities. Chris Paul is on the final year of his rookie deal, and ever since he got inserted into the starting lineup before that Raiders game, he played 11 snaps to close the Packers game. Ever since he got inserted into that starting lineup, he's been phenomenal. In 3 games, he's only given up 2 pressures. Now, Both of those pressures were sacks, but I'm more interested in the pressure number, if I can be honest. That's also the lowest pressure number on the entire Commanders offensive line during that span. This season, he is 5th in Pro Football Focus's pass blocking grade for guards. Also, since he joined the starting lineup, again, week 3 against the Raiders, the Commanders averaged 6.2 yards per carry, 170 rushing yards per game. Outstanding elite numbers. The Commanders this season lead the NFL in yards per carry and in rushing yards per game. And I can directly trace that to Chris Paul, who, when he joined the starting lineup, I say there was a noticeable difference in the physicality at the point of attack. And I hate to keep bringing them up, but whenever the Commanders went up against the Eagles last year, there was always a physical difference. By the time you get to the 3rd or the 4th quarter, the Eagles just continue to lean on them with their size and their strength, and they break down in the trenches. Chris Paul has enormous strength, and I've been really impressed by some of his technique and his blocking, specifically the pass blocking. That's why his numbers look the way they did. That game against the Chargers, he was perfect. No pressures, no QB hits, no sacks, nothing. He was just a brick wall who can also do a tremendous job blocking in the running game. So with where we're at right now, I believe there is a path back for Brandon Coleman, but you always hear Dan Quinn and company preach competition. Brandon Coleman's going to have to go to practice and earn that spot because Chris Paul has taken his opportunity and he is not letting go of it. It's going to take a lot for Coleman to snatch it back from him. Now that opens up an opportunity where Coleman becomes trade bait, but that's a whole other conversation. Right now, it looks like the Commanders' best offensive line is Laramie Tunsil, Chris Paul, Tyler Biadasz, Sam Cosmi, who has a chance to be back on Monday night against the Bears, and then Josh Connerly Jr. And so I think that means as long as Paul doesn't want something exorbitant, I don't think he can come to the table asking for it if he's only gotten 1 year of starting experience. But I do believe Chris Paul has earned himself a contract extension.
Luke McCaffrey over Noah Brown.
Hey, it's the final hot take of the Hot Take Tuesday. You know we had to get spicy on him. This one is scorching hot. And I respect everybody's opinion. I would love to hear your feedback. And I'm open to having my mind changed. But it's going to be difficult. Because one thing we always hear in sports is best ability is availability. Well, Noah Brown, since he joined the Commanders, has played in 13 of 21 possible games. He seems to keep getting these mystery injuries. I still have no idea what happened with him over the summer. He had the weird abdominal thing at the end of last season. He's injured again. They hold him out for 3 games, but they don't put him on IR, which would have meant a mandatory of 4 games minimum. So I'm expecting him to play on Monday night. But point being, I can just never track what's going on with Noah Brown. And it's frustrating because I don't know what the team is going to be. And we're talking about not missing Terry McLaurin. How about not missing Noah Brown? At least with Terry, when we do get to those high leverage games that I mentioned, I just smacked my desk. When we get to those high leverage games, those high importance games, and you're not running the ball well, the offensive line is getting torn up, and you just need a receiver to win outside the numbers. That's what Terry is for. With Noah Brown as the number 2, is he an elite number 2? He's probably an elite number 3, not an elite number 2. We saw some frustrating moments with him in the first couple of games to start the season. And now we're at this point where it's like, dude, I see Luke McCaffrey making that crazy catch on the perfect pass from Jada. It was his only catch of the day. Okay, so I'm not trying to say Luke has proven himself with a high volume, but we're at 3 straight weeks of Luke making splash plays on offense. He's also been outstanding in special teams, both with his coverage and also returning kicks dating back to his rookie season. So we know that good things can happen when you get the ball in his hand. It's a matter of him getting open. And it seems recently that he's found more success in doing so. Also, you drafted Jalen Lane, who also looks like he has potential game-breaking abilities. We saw that on his punt return. Can we find ways to incorporate him with screens or short stuff like that? Can you isolate him in man coverage and get him with a mismatch on a linebacker, and now he's on a deep vertical route, one-on-one coverage with a mismatch? The point that I'm making here is just like, I'm not advocating for cutting Noah Brown, but what I am saying is Luke McCaffrey and to a certain extent Jalen Lane as well, let's get them on the field. Just because Terry and Noah are back doesn't mean they have to be relegated. When they were given opportunities, they showed you positive signs. I'm all for letting Terry get out there, get back to what he's supposed to be doing. He's the number 1 guy. He's making the most money. You have to at least let him fall flat on his face if he's going to fail. With Noah Brown, he's never been excellent for this team. He's been solid in spots. And when I look back at what Luke and Jalen Lane have done recently, I think, oh, they're also solid in spots. The difference is they're 23, 24 years old. They're draft picks. They've got bright futures. And it's very early in their careers, but they've demonstrated more consistency just with their overall availability. So I'm going to welcome Noah Brown back. I still want him on the field, but I don't want to see Luke getting DNPs. I don't want to see Jalen Lane getting DNPs just because Noah Brown is back. They are the future of the team, and you have to let them prove themselves or fail. But you can't just keep covering them up for a guy who you never know if he's going to be there week to week. And yeah, that's where we're at with the 5 hot takes for this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Guys, make sure you do go to the comment section and leave me your thoughts on all of these hot takes, or if anyone in particular stands out. And as I always say, also, you are invited to leave your own hot takes. If we get any that are especially thought-provoking, I'll pop them up in an upcoming video. I will also, as always, try to read and respond to as many comments as I possibly can. So, guys, if you are still around at this point in the video, make sure you do hit the like button if you have not already. Once again, new viewers encouraged to subscribe here. Returning viewers, appreciate you all. To the regular commenters, I really just do appreciate you guys always being there. I respect all of your opinions, and seeing you guys consistently turn out means a lot to me. And I'm excited to see how our opinions continue to evolve as we go through the season. But that's going to do it for me here today. As I always say, I will catch you in the next one. Have a great day.